I banged you here,
I nailed you there,
and on this couch,
and in this chair,
in the doorway,
the hallway,
on every stair.
we tapped that ass all over this house. Sometimes him, sometimes me,
Though never simultaneously.
but one of us was hitting it usually. We tapped that ass all over this house.
Wow, 21 Jump Street meme.
Yeah, because someone, I guess, was going to class for their partner, which I don't know how that works, but like,
Yeah, I don't think you can send a proxy in your place.
yeah, I don't know if it was because they were wearing a mask or there's so many people in the class that you don't even know, but like,
Because they dressed up like their partner and they put on the wig and
they're definitely not passable as their partner. They're distinctly different looking people, but
it is weird when a partner could pass for the other partner though. It always makes me like a little uncomfortable.
there's a lot of us, especially in the queer community.
100%.
But also my culturally straight friends who are in couples. That's not true. One of my culturally straight one of my couples where the girl is bi and the guy kind of identified as bi at the beginning, but now is like, no, I am straight, and they operate mostly as a straight couple because they're monogamous.
Right.
They look like siblings, and I have another friend, a non-binary friend, and their boyfriend who look like siblings, and it's all very funny.
It's all very funny. It's all very strange. Love is a strange and wonderful thing in its own special way. As of course we learn every single month on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yeah. Oh, but the 21 Jump Street.
Yes, right. I totally forgot about how we started here because
Like, I know
I
I'm
started
missing
talking about sibling couples or whatever, sister wives.
So the friend that was sitting in for their partner, they famously didn't go to college, like hasn't gone to college. They were like cosplaying as a student. So then I just started sending them photos of like different like adults playing high schoolers,
Uh-huh.
like Never Been Kissed and
Great,
21 Jump
classic,
Street.
Scream.
Yeah, I should have just sent the cast of Glee though. That
100%. As someone who, as I recently posted on Twitter, I believe very strongly that about once a month one should just sit down and watch a series of Glee clips for a couple hours.
We did that.
We did that. I just did that with my roommate last week. Like, you know, it's just at a certain point, I forget what even brought it up. Oh, because we did not watch the Super Bowl, but we did watch the Super Bowl halftime show after our viewing of Howl's Moving Castle. And then they put on a Rihanna playlist, and we got, of course, to a song, and I said, hey, remember when Rachel Berry sang this? So we sat down and we watched Rachel Berry's famous rendition of that one song where Rihanna says it was very entertaining. And then we watched a bunch of Glee clips, actually.
We did.
Yeah, we watched a bunch of Glee clips, actually. And we watched this one. You know, we watched the season 2 finale section. We watched the Warblers do their number, and I think they did a great job. And then we watched what New Directions responded with, and it sucked. Like, they deserved to lose. New Directions had that L coming.
Yeah.
The thing about New Directions is, and I know this is a Crazy Ex-Girlfriend podcast and not a Glee
related.
podcast yet.
It's related.
It's related, is that,
Same
like,
genre.
New Directions, to the credit of the show Glee, frequently lost at competition, and almost always they deserved to lose.
Yes.
The show was not as good. The singing was not as good. You can't show up to fucking competition and just sing like a Journey medley. You cannot fucking sing Don't Stop Believin', even if it is like emotionally resonant with the first season of your show, you know, where that's how you began and that's how you end. It's a very nice cyclical ending. However, the judges don't know that.
They don't know they don't know your journey. Similarly, no, this is a horrible
When
story.
Jesse St. James is up there doing Bohemian Rhapsody, while Quinn is giving birth, you can't show up and do Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I had a horrible story, and I don't know if I should put it to bed and shift gears or not, but it involves a regional high school awards ceremony. Do you remember the Cappies?
I am aware of the Cappies. My school did not participate.
I think every time I bring up the Cappies, we have the same conversation, but basically
Over and over again.
Yeah. There's
a society.
There's a society called the Cappies, and
in regional high school theater.
In regional high school theater, and we're from Missouri, so this section in Missouri, different schools would be qualified to be Cappies. You didn't really have to have a certain, like, budget or anything, like a private school, public school, which is kind of nice looking back on it. Like, anybody could be qualified.
But essentially, several representatives of your school were qualified as judges.
Judges and critics, so they would write, critiques or reviews
of other schools' productions.
And naming the people in the show.
Yes, you would travel around the great state of Missouri and view other high school productions and write critical reviews and nominate for awards. So it's like if movie critics and the Academy were the same body of people.
And I did this, and
wow,
my sibling...
you were a Cappy.
I was a Cappy, and my sibling was. And it was a good way for us to, like, get clout and get familiar, and then also, like,
Totes.
kind of undermine, I guess, people who were our competition.
Absolutely. Kneecap them.
Because I was nominated a few times, and always lost. But the fucked up story I'm going to tell now is... how is this related to... Now I've lost the thread.
There's no point going back to the start. You're here, you gotta finish.
It was basically that we had somebody nominated as the lead for... I think it wasn't Into the Woods. It might have been. I think it was maybe it was our Rapunzel and Into the... No... Anyway,
Rapunzel ain't no lead of no Into the Woods.
We had someone nominated for a Cappy, as, like, lead dancer, I think, in Drowsy Chaperone. In the same category, someone who had died was nominated.
Shit.
And lost because of...
a Chadwick Boseman situation.
Yeah.
Wow.
In Cappies. And I was like, and it was our girl who won, and the, like, dead girl who lost. And I had seen the dead girl show, or I had seen a later show that cast had been in after. There was no reason for our girl to have won over this. There needed to have
neither deserved it nor felt good about it.
Yeah, so I think that's where I'm at. Is that there was no reason for a dead girl to lose this regional high school show.
No, we must honor the best performance. We cannot give it to the dead.
And ours was like...
to win a posthumous Cappy! It's like so funny.
To not win a posthumous Cappy. To lose
I'm so sorry.
to a white girl.
This is so dark. This is so fucked up. But, like, losing a posthumous Cappy for dance lead to the Drowsy Chaperone is funny. Ooh.
That's why I was like, do I bury this story? I don't even know.
No, thank you for telling me that story. That's so fucked up. That's so uncomfortable.
Then the flip side funny story of the Cappy. So that's my dark Cappy story. And then
Evil Cappy.
And then my more fun Cappy story is Alex, my sibling, and I drove to see this absolutely, well, of course, but absolutely terrible production of Annie. And it was like...
Has there been a good production of Annie, I ask you?
See, I know. But it was like rural. It was like Warrington, but
of course.
south.
We did Annie. They did Annie the year after I left, but I did drive back and I saw my friends in Annie.
Maybe that was the one that we saw.
I don't think so.
But it was... I think they had to have like some teachers fill in some roles. And like, it was like the whole town went to see it. And
right.
like...
It was the only thing happening.
There was no band. It was just like backing tracks or whatever. And it was the most off-key thing I have ever heard. And so I guess decided to be a mischievous bitch and was like, I rallied all of the other Cappies because we didn't have any adults in the room with us. And I was like, hey, let's give the highest marks to that girl who was the Statue of Liberty in the back, who had no lines, who just held it, who just held the torch and did not have any lines, and let's give her the highest rating and get her to win this category of like supporting or like featured actor or whatever. And lo and behold, in all of Missouri's Cappy Awards, because we had all like collaborated to do this.
Just the Annie Statue of Liberty.
The Statue of Liberty with no lines won.
This is you've pointed out the fraud of the Cappies organization. This is like hashtag Oscars so white. Like the Cappies needs to radically change, or it will be demolished.
I wanted to finally have fun with things. I felt like my whole life I was fucked with by institutions
Totally.
and auditioning, and at the time I was like one of like a trillion blonde white girls trying to do musical theater, and so it was fun to just be like, let's fuck it up.
Let's burn this motherfucker down.
Especially because I knew I wasn't going to win. Like, I kept knowing that, like, the politics of other people winning, like, if we were doing this,
Yeah.
other people were doing this in other ways. Like, it was a popularity contest, so why not have fun?
I am, like, semi-seriously now considering that we should write, like, an election-style film about, like, a Cappies organization.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
We've never talked about this.
We can get 90 pages out of, like...
Absolutely.
A Rachel Berry-esque protagonist
Completely.
running in a Cappy-style organization,
Yes.
using your two stories that you have just told.
In the International Thespian Society. I think, like, the Thespian
Yes.
Conference is,
oh,
like, a
the
really
Missouri
good...
Thespian Conference.
Yeah.
Like, it is about time we took them to task.
Because we did have, like, a culty initiation, too. Okay, wait. Third Cappy story.
Great.
There was this guy named Will Stupp. Sorry to dox you. And
Sorry, Stup.
And he was famous. He was like famously a stoner because he was the only one at our school that could ever have a medicinal marijuana license.
Fuck yeah.
Because of his condition. It was a really big deal because weed was like a no tolerance thing at our school.
100%.
So like,
But homeboy had glaucoma.
but he was the only one who could, so he had the weed, right? So I did smoke his weed once. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. I don't remember. You can't
You
make me
can't
say
pin that
anything.
on me. You can't prove shit. You can't prove a goddamn thing.
But in reference to Beyonce's album was the best album of all time, Kanye interrupting Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I'll stop you right there, but...
He did this, but with not even our production, but a different production of Into the Woods.
A production?
A production. So it was like best Cappy production of, and it was like the final like best musical or whatever, or best cast or something. And he runs up on stage, and he does.
This is at the awards ceremony.
Yes.
Right, I'm writing this down. For real. Wow. I tried writing in Cappies into the notes app. Autocorrect, crappies.
So we have a title.
That made me laugh. That's very funny.
Now I'm going to read and we can finally move away from Glee and all of these things.
No, we're never moving away from Glee.
I'm going to read my Ryan Murphy murder cult summary to someone who asked on a dating app where I say, ask me about Ryan Murphy's murder cult is in my bio. They said, gonna need more info about Ryan Murphy's murder cult, please and thank you. So I finally have it all written down.
Good.
So
yes.
It's cohesive.
No, we lay it all out.
And as I've written it, I realize there really isn't as much there as I had hoped, but here we go. So many people in Glee have died, and there were either straight-ish or opponents of his stars like Lea Michele, and two of his little starlets were reported as being perpetrators of domestic abuse. One, Emma Roberts, with Ryan's favorite, Evan Peters, and two, Naya Rivera and her on and off husband, Ryan Dorsey. Both charges were dropped. So Emma Roberts had the cops called for domestic abuse as the perpetrator. Same with Naya Rivera. I'm not saying that Ryan called the cops.
Of course.
But,
or that he called off the cops.
But that his darling, Evan Peters, was one of them. Also, the girl who was Supergirl, who was also in Glee.
Melissa Benoist.
She received domestic abuse from one of Ryan Murphy's straight favorites. I forgot his name. Yeah, and he was on Glee as well. But I didn't write that in here because I didn't really quite know how to connect it all.
I have no idea.
And then he does these very involved biopics where his straight dude muses play complex queer villains. So Darren Criss is the Versace assassin, and Evan Peters is Dahmer. And it's just weird when you see like how much involvement these men are in and why they're constantly put in queer. These both of them, it's the second time they've been, or more, that they've been put in queer roles
Definitely
as straight
more,
actors.
100%.
For Ryan Murphy, who could hire any gay talent
Of
to be
course.
any of the gay characters.
But keeps going back to these two young men.
Yeah, these two young straight men.
Big quotes.
And then he has his token favorite gays that are in everything. There's Billy Eichner, Sarah Paulson, and then the protected gays under Leah Michele, like Jonathan Groff. So if there's a protected gay under Leah Michele, that gay is protected. And so in the Murphy universe, it's all very sus who's protected and who's in crisis based on the conviction of Mark Salling. When he was imprisoned,
Yeah.
I'm glad. And
Prison was probably good for him.
That
I mean,
was
like,
good.
abolish all prisons, but, like, if anybody should go,
Yeah.
it's Puck.
I'm not team Puck in this sphere. I just think it's strange who keeps getting hits after them.
That's fascinating. Who gets hit and who's getting protected?
The timing of Naya's memoir and Leah Michelle's rising controversy right when Naya drowned was just really weird at the time.
Absolutely.
Like, because she had come out with a memoir, and then Leah was getting all of this backlash from other Glee stars around the time, like very close to the
Amber
time
Riley, yeah.
that Naya drowned. And it was also mysterious. It wasn't like she definitely drowned. It was like we cannot figure out what happened here.
In the middle of a body of water in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
Her son is 4, and he was just in the boat alone. That's it. That's like all. And then her body was found in the same lake. Emma Roberts and Evan Peters' relationship always freaked me out. Luckily, they're not together anymore as of, 3 years ago.
This is the first time learning about this relationship, and that is, that's white toxicity. That's something about that.
It was
makes my
freaky.
stomach turn.
Well, because they had that, domestic abuse thing. And that was in, 2011. And then they got back together. And then they were together for, 5 to 7 more years. On and off. Now, luckily, she's, doing other things that isn't Scream Queens, isn't Ryan Murphy things.
Yeah, she's out of the Murphyverse.
She's more doing weird rom-com stuff now, and she had a baby, so I think she's doing the get the paycheck thing. Writing it all out doesn't sound conclusive, but just imagine a corkboard and printouts of articles and red string connecting dots everywhere.
100%. No, there's a lot. There's a lot there, and it is enough to feel conspiratorial.
Yeah, so the person responded, I love all the little pieces of evidence. Are we saying Ryan Murphy is responsible for the drowning? Or it's just a lot of weird coincidences? And I said, I have no conclusions, just a lot of suspicious activity.
Listen, you cannot, as the Social Network poster, would tell us, you cannot make a million friends without making a few enemies. Do you know what I mean? You cannot build a media empire the size of Ryan Murphy's without making some foes along the way. You can't.
He's also not a famously easy to work with or nice, cool, chilled guy.
No, 100%. And I am not saying anything, but I'm not saying anything.
I have one ex-boyfriend who worked for him, and it lines up with the craziness.
Yes.
Yeah.
With the zaniness we've come to expect from a Ryan Murphy joint. But listen, you have in an organized crime type scenario, you have various functionaries at various different levels and height, and you have capos, and there's a ranking system, and I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, organized crime, I think, is the exact frame to look at this with Ryan Murphy. I don't think there's one thing happening to one person, direct cause and effect. I think it is.
It is an empire. It is an organization.
It's a mafia.
There are a lot of different moving pieces, and it is very organized.
It's organized, but there isn't a lot of rationale behind it. It's reactive, but it's calculating.
It's an accumulation, and much like actual organized crime, there's a lot of dummies at various different levels. You know what I mean? It's not being run... They're not sending their best. It's not being run by, the smartest people you've ever met.
Yeah. I also kind of wonder what Diana Agron?
Diana Agron?
Yeah, Diana Agron.
As portrayed Quinn Fabray on the TV show Glee.
She's my question mark in this, because she's also been rumored as being closeted. And there's just the people who have been rumored as being closeted have like an interesting like protective layer.
Yes, it's all very interesting to me. And, perhaps Diana Agron has been up to a lot that I'm just simply not privy to. But I find fascinating in this instance, and in all instances of, like, creators who work with a lot of the same people, like, over and over and over again, like, where's Diana Agron?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like I haven't seen her since Glee disappeared, or whenever she disappeared from Glee. I did not finish that television show. Where is she?
Yeah. Chris Colfer's just like, I'm different industry now.
Yeah, Colfer's out. Colfer's writing children's books or whatever.
Yeah, and he's very direct about what he likes and doesn't like, and he doesn't say anything more than that, and that's smart.
100%. He keeps his mouth shut. You can't. That worm's not going to turn as long as you keep your mouth shut.
He'll talk shit about like Lea Michele as a person, but
yeah, it's like Goodfellas. You don't flip. You know what I mean? You don't talk. You don't give them anything. Keep your mouth shut. You turn your dime. No one goes to prison unless they want to.
Diana Agron, though, I watched like a deep conspiracy TikTok of her and
I gotta take this app away from you.
I think it was her and Lea Michele dating.
Fascinating.
But then I thought it was maybe Taylor Swift.
Right. I mean, it could be anything. I don't know. Lea Michele strikes me as sort of tragically straight. I could be wrong about that.
I have no idea. I have
no idea. I don't know these celebs. I don't know their life.
Straight. Yeah.
I don't think anyone's straight.
We can go back to Crazy.
Just Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. We can start. Yes, the 2 episodes that we just got finished watching, and boy howdy, did these episodes set a sort of land speed record of plot covered per 42-minute episode of television.
It is confusing when shows like choose one pace for a season and then like change that speed for the next, like something that happens over the course of like 1 day or 2 days, and then suddenly it's like months passing and growth happening and weeks passing and relationships changing all in the same episode, when we're like, but we spent so much time on just like the tiny interactions and tiny changes for so long. Like,
yeah, I know. There's a show I'm deeply obsessed with at the moment called For All Mankind, and that is a show where like in the last 5 minutes of an episode, they will suddenly pop up a little title card that says like 2 years later.
Oh,
it's one of those that you're like, what? Yeah, and it's crazy. It's a ride. I'm deeply involved in the space show For All Mankind.
That is tricky. At least with a show like 24, you're like,
I understand. I know what to expect time-wise from this.
He couldn't pee, though.
No, well, he did it, well, because, every episode is quote-unquote an hour, but it's actually only 42 minutes. So he peed during, like, the 18 minutes of a respective episode that we did not see because of commercials.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't actually 24 hours.
I still haven't seen it.
Any, oh boy, a show about like political intrigue that came out like very close to 9/11. I just cannot imagine has aged in a way that you or I will explicitly love.
No, my parents loved it.
Oh sure, your parents were Jack Bauer. your parents were on that show.
Yeah. Mom loved watching stuff like that.
Of course. I mean, it was like, and we're going to get back at those terrorists. One man is brave enough to torture people on network television.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, now.
Yeah, 100%.
Now that is what that was.
Mm-hmm.
She also loved Alias.
Well, Alias is a good show. I will stand up in respect for Alias.
I love Jennifer Gardner.
Alias was like a cheesy little spy show. You know what I mean? It was not the hard-bitten post 9/11 tracking down those domestic terrorists with bombs sort of thing. It was like someone's got a crazy device and only one Agent Sidney Bristow can stop them.
Yeah. Like wires and bomb alarms.
A lot of diffusing bombs.
Yeah.
But and there was one very special episode because the Super Bowl just happened. Famously, the year that the Super Bowl aired on ABC, they, because, it's always a big deal every year, like, what is the Super Bowl leading into? What is the programming that the network has selected to air after the Super Bowl? And there was this one year, very famously, where it was an episode of Alias, and it was like, Jennifer Garner is going to wear 2 different colors of lingerie in this post-Super Bowl episode of Alias. And you know what? Everyone fucking stuck around and watched that episode of Alias after the Super Bowl. It was like the highest watched thing since the Super Bowl. It was crazy.
Damn. What was this year?
I have no idea. I only watched the halftime show with my roommate.
What opened this first episode?
That's a good question. So this episode opened, because Rebecca's starting to feel a little feelings for Craig again. So this episode opens with a fantasy, where she is imagining Greg showing up with a pizza because she cannot decide between these two men. She's torn between the two men, and she is looking for signs from the universe to tell her which man she should be with. And as you and I were discussing, signs aren't real. They don't exist. Don't listen to them.
She also consults with a polyamorous couple that she just found.
That she lied to on Craigslist.
Yeah.
About writing an article about them for Psychology Today. But they are like, actually, polyamory is not a solution to indecision. It's a lifestyle. And you know what? Fair enough.
I thought the opening was very similar to one of my favorite SNL songs back in the day that featured Lady Gaga.
It's not gay if it's in a three-way?
Yeah.
With a honey in the middle, there's some leeway. The area is gray in a 1-2-3 way.
Exactly. I was hoping there would be a number like that.
Right, but in Rebecca's fantasy specifically is she asks which of you is having sex with me tonight. So in Rebecca's fantasy, she is never getting double teamed by Greg and Josh.
Correct.
She is never getting an Eiffel Tower from Greg and Josh. She is always having sex with one of them at a time.
Yeah, which is fascinating.
It's fascinating to have the desire to be in a relationship with multiple people at the same time, but never a desire for group sex is just interesting to me.
I know people like that.
That's so specific.
It feels very complicated.
That's emotionally very complicated.
Yeah.
And again, a relationship that's built to last. That's gonna work forever. Yeah.
I've dated people in poly dynamics where that's true, and it was very complicated. Yeah, I think it really just depends on the crop that you have.
Depends on the crops you yield. Depends on how you sow them damn oats. Absolutely. I love sowing, but ooh, do I hate reaping. Yes, so she's looking for a decision. She, of course, sings one of my favorite numbers from the entire show, The Math of Love Triangles, the Marilyn Monroe Gentleman for Blondes pastiche.
Yeah, she did a good Marilyn,
She does a great Marilyn. They styled her really well. I love the Gentleman Dancers. I think it's all it's such a specific riff, but it works really, really well.
Yeah, it was funny and it was fun and stupid.
It was fun and silly. It was silly. It was a little sexy. It was everything that you want. Had some good puns about math.
Yeah, and then I thought they did a good job of starting a song and ending and then having it end in the middle of a scene. I think the movement of it was she was already in therapy and her therapist was like, stop using a baby voice.
Stop talking the baby voice. Which that always just makes me think of 30 Rock.
I'm a sexy baby. I used to say that a lot.
I'm a sexy baby.
Kristen Miliotti's finest performance.
So good.
So good.
Taylor Swift wrote it into a song recently.
Sometimes I feel like everybody's sexy baby, but I'm a monster on a hill. Terrible.
It was an intrusive thought for months.
Yeah. As someone who watches many of your Instagram stories, I am keenly aware. And then we watched that music video, and I was like, "This is awful."
It was bad.
This
I think it did.
Bad video, and I'll say it, bad song.
I think it deleted the intrusive thought.
Yeah, I think it killed. It's like when your parents catch you smoking and they make you smoke the whole pack, and you're like, "I'm never doing this."
Oh, I wish they had done that. Damn.
Look at what they could have saved me from.
Why didn't they let me do that with
You're having a Heather's
too?
Parents situation where they're too lenient. They let you get away with too many things.
No, they.
I know they didn't. Yeah. So and then also in this episode, Rebecca begins to suspect that she is pregnant.
Pregnante. Am I pregnant?
Am I pregnant?
Am I pregnant?
Specifically, she thinks she's Joshnant and not Gregnant. And then she brings that forward to, are we being real? Is that what you're doing?
We're being real.
We're being real.
Somehow it always knows when we're
when
potting.
we're potting. And that's when she decides is a sign from the universe, because of course a baby is a sign. If a baby is anything, it is a device to save a relationship. Babies should always be brought into the picture when you are questioning whether or not you should be with someone.
Yeah, don't you
let
think
the
that's-
baby decide.
Don't you think that's what you were?
In theory, no.
Oh.
In theory, I was supposed to be brought into a loving home with two parents. Now, it didn't work out that way, but I believe that was the plan.
Huh. So you were planned.
Indeed.
Okay.
But myself and my middle brother were planned, but the baby brother was a little surprise. Because my mom was like 40 when she had like in her 40s, I think, when she had my youngest brother.
Wow.
Which is like, she was not expecting that to be in like 43, 45, something like that.
I was technically planned, but I wasn't a very smooth departure.
No?
No, I was 2 weeks late, and
Hot damn.
I was 30.
Classic you. Always running late.
I am, and then I was 30 hours of labor.
That's a lot of hours.
And I was a C-section,
Hot damn.
so I was getting really big, and I was not planning on getting out of there.
You were chill. You were vibing.
Yeah.
You were having a good time.
I think I knew what was to come, and I would just.
You had a premonition of the life outside the womb, and
Yeah.
you
like,
desired
that's gonna be messy.
100%. I don't know about all this. Hey, listen, Doc. Let me just chill in here. I'm having a great time.
Like, I did not consent to this
100%.
post 94 life.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did not want to see Y2K. It was gonna be a whole mess. And yeah. So then she tells Josh that she thinks she's having his baby, but then she gets her period, and then she sings a little ditty about period sex. And if you think it's the last time we heard that, you're wrong. And then Josh flips out because it was a crazy mindfuck on him. And then, still, in this one episode, then she encounters Greg on a little romantic bridge in a park. And then she wonders if she should get back with Greg. And then Greg's dad sells their house so that Greg can go to college. And then Greg's going to the airport. Same episode. Then Rebecca has to run a race to the airport to catch up with Greg. And that's where the episode ends.
They make her, makeup-wise, look really unhinged.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job of making her look, like, really unwell.
There are a lot of times on shows and in movies where a character is supposed to look like unwell and disheveled, but they still look like a professional hair and makeup team has put their shit together.
Yeah.
I respect that this show does not do that.
Yeah.
And that Rachel is willing to, like, go on national television looking like a damn mess. Whereas, like, I don't know, did you watch Queen's Gambit?
Mm-hmm.
The 3 or so episodes where she's supposed to be like a drunken mess whose life has fallen apart, and
Yeah.
she still looks like a fucking supermodel. They do this insane thing on Queen's Gambit that I've never gotten over, where when she's in like a full drunken stupor, like falling over drunk on a chessboard, do you get it? She still wears eyeliner, but the way that they showed that she's unhinged is that the eyeliner is like half an inch underneath her eyelid.
Oh, yeah.
It
I
was
think-
a crazy look.
Yeah, I think it's
It was like halfway down the lid.
I think it's supposed to be like when you're, yeah, actually.
Like
I don't
she's
know.
putting it on drunk every morning and just misses in this clean line, like a little gap from her eyelid.
Yeah.
Anyway, that show was pretty good, but like the episode where she's like a drunk is like embarrassing.
My friend's dad wrote and directed that show.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Sorry to this man.
Sorry to this man.
I think you did a great job on so much of it. I just like I would have maybe.
He also did Logan.
The film?
Mm-hmm.
Your friend's dad is James Mangold?
No.
Okay, well that's who
I
directed
think
Logan.
he wrote Logan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, good for them. Sounds successful.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Should I delete this part?
No.
Where I make fun of your friend's dad's show? It was good. I enjoyed it.
I think all critiques are welcome, and I don't think it was a deep cut. I think it was a well spoken.
Thank you.
critique.
Thank you. It did. I fired that off from the hip. But it's bothered me for like 3 years now, and I finally
No, I'm with you.
vocalized it.
I watched Queen's
Queen's Gambit.
when I was recovering from top surgery. So for me, I was just like, Well, yeah. Chess,
you were doped up.
Yeah.
You were like, you were also playing chess on the ceiling.
Yeah, I didn't actually get to take any pain meds, but I did have to take Benadryl for weeks because I had a full body allergic reaction.
Amazing.
At Jace's family's home. And Benadryl makes me really fucked up. So I did kind of feel...
Fuck yeah.
I watched that and Haunting of Bly Manor and The Crown. Those are the things that I watched. Yeah.
A lot of Netflix originals.
Yeah.
You were in a pocket. You were in a Netflix original pocket.
Yeah.
Yes, the only real song in this episode was The Math of Love Triangles. The period sex song in my head does not count. Because they do just a little sting. Put down a dark towel, it's period sex.
Yeah.
I've had period sex and we've never put down like a dark towel.
Congratulations.
I've had plenty of period sex.
Brag!
Brag!
Great.
As someone who's been in several long-term relationships with women, it's just sometimes periods happen.
Congratulations.
And you can't stop the whole operation just because of it.
That's true.
Is this making you uncomfortable?
No, I too have had period sex because I can create them if I want to.
If you want to. If I wish really hard.
If I take out my IUD and I go off of testosterone, I could conjure periods again. But I currently can't conjure a period. But I have tampons just in case if you ever need one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So much.
They're
Call you up real quick.
I was watching Perfect Match, which I'm obsessed with right now.
Yeah, so another Netflix original.
Yeah, I just really like contributing to your brand. I'm really proud
Thank
of
you.
what-
Yes, you're right. I'm raking it in because of you.
I'm really proud
But be
of
careful
the-
with your password.
One of the contestants who is dating a trans guy right now, which is cool.
Whoa.
She said that
We're progressive at Netflix.
in one of her like challenge games where it's like a secret that gets revealed or like truth or dare or whatever.
Oh, fuck, dude.
She went down on a girl and removed the tampon with her teeth.
Okay, so from your perspective, is that hot or is that weird or is it both?
She said, she was like, I was already down there.
Yeah.
And I'm
Saw
like,
a little
right,
string
but
hanging out. And like a cat, I had to play with a little string that I found.
that's what I mean though. It's like, yes, you were already down there, so taking it out makes sense to me. Like, that's fine. But the taking it out with your teeth, that's like a level of, I think it's both for me.
Unfortunately, I'm sure you experience this a lot, as do I, where I'm like, that's hot, and I wish it wasn't.
Yeah.
I wish that was not hot.
I don't know if it is or isn't hot.
Yeah.
But I think
it's not really hot to me. It's just
not
sort of a
exclusive-
complete outsider to the experience.
it's not exclusively weird. I think,
Right.
like, it would get my heart rate up a bit, and I don't know in what way.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the day.
100%.
Like, do I feel really safe with this person, or has this person given me, like, some weird vibes in kind of a hot way? Like, it really just depends on the
Because if it's a
person.
weird vibe and they do that, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, then I'm like, oh, cannibal. Like,
Right.
oh, okay. Like,
Right.
no.
Yes. Whereas
I have been deceived before by creepy people.
by cannibals.
They
were like, "No, I'm making a stew. I'm making a cat stew. I'm making a stew for cat." No, it's fine. It's just get it. I want you to taste the stew. Just get in. Just get in. Just get in the big pot with the carrots and celery. It's great. Doesn't it smell nice? Don't you want to just hop in?
It's like,
I drew you a hot bath with spices.
it's all the way in the back of the oven. Just
Just
all the
crawl
way back
it.
there.
Just crawl it. Just go. It's right back there.
Step bro, what are you doing? I'm just trying to get out this piece
Step
of
bro
pie
gonna
from
bake
the
you
back.
into a pie. Step bro, help me, step brother. You're baking me into a pie.
Crawling all the way into the
Help
oven.
me, step bro. She's gonna die. That's not sexy. She's gonna die. It's like that scene from Goodfellas. Where it's like the dresses are way down there. Just go over there. Now that you've seen Goodfellas,
Yeah.
I can finally,
finally
reference
reference
a movie that is constantly on my mind.
Okay, now that we've talked about one episode, I feel okay inserting a longer conversation topic that doesn't have to do with the show again.
Yes, great,
Because
good.
we saw Kate.
Yes! Oh my god, we saw
saw
Kate, and it was magical. For anyone who doesn't know, Kate Berlant, famed comedian, star of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and she has a one-woman show directed by Bo Burnham that has played for a while in New York City, recently closed. I believe it is moving to Los Angeles. So all our Angelinos out there, be on the lookout. Kate's coming to your town.
Yeah, you know we're an openly bi-coastal podcast, so
Yeah.
we have quite a few readers on the other coast. What did you think of it?
Loved it. Had a great time. I mean, like, Kate Berlant. I saw a tiny clip of Kate Berlant years and years ago on a taped stand-up show called The Meltdown that, like, Kumail Nanjiani used to co-host. And she just did this very unique set, and she kept talking about, like, can you believe I've never been in a movement class? That just made me laugh, has endeared me to her forever, and it's that exact sensibility translated to, like, an hour-long one-woman show. The way she moves is very funny. The running bit about, like, not being able to cry is the emotional and comedic centerpiece of the show, and is wonderful. Incredibly funny.
Yeah. What did you think of Bo's directing?
It was interesting. I mean, you know, it's a very minimalist show, so, like, on the projector behind her, you know, just black text on white that says, like, club or whatever. You know, it's fine. Mm-hmm. I had no larger thoughts about Bo Burnham's contribution.
Interesting. Yeah, I was curious about what was pulled from him and what was pulled from her and how they brought it together and their conversations, and I just wanted to be in the room. And Brie Larson was in our row.
Brie Larson was several seats down from us. Mark Maron was behind us, of course. Mm-hmm. So there were some famos in the house to see Kate.
There were a few, like, trans people in the audience that night, too. There was Dylan from TikTok. There was Alok. There was, like, a few. But people kept texting me being like, oh, this person was there that night.
TikTok celebs.
Yeah, but also just trans-specific. I wonder if it was, like, a trans discount night. The penultimate trans discount.
Trans get in free.
Well, I didn't.
Well, you bought your ticket months ago, yeah.
I did.
You did get in free. Congratulations.
I did. It was a birthday gift.
So
that was dope. Yeah. I do think it was probably one of the best comedy shows I will see. But then it's one of those things where then if I try to, like, think back and, like, quote it, I can't.
I could never quote after only seeing something one time.
Yeah, really? I feel like you're so good at conjuring.
I can conjure quotes from things I've seen over and over and over again. Like, you know, I can remember episodes of, you know, Community or whatever, like, so strongly. But no, if I've only seen something one time, even if it was something that I thought was funny or I thought was really good, I'm not going to be able to conjure a quote for you. That is not what I retain in my first viewing of something.
Yeah. Huh.
Because I can quote, like, Oh Hello, you know, the John Mulaney, Nick Kroll special, because I've seen it, like, 6 fucking times.
Okay.
So I can quote everything from that show, but I can't quote anything from the third John Mulaney stand-up show that I saw. Even though I was laughing my ass off, I have no recollection of what he said.
Got it. Interesting. I guess I just felt like you quote things a lot.
Sure,
like,
do.
Quickly. But they're not always things that I think you've seen more than once. Episode 2.
Yes. Immediately picking up where the previous episode left. This is, again, another one where we're, like, record of plot per minute. Greg and Rebecca at the airport, where Rebecca begs Greg to stay, but he says no. And he sings a little ditty that I've always been a fan of called It Was a Shit Show, describing their relationship.
That was good. Yeah.
We've obviously had chemistry, but this is not going to work. It's bad for both of us. I'm going to leave. And that is why Greg Serrano remains a king. He understands.
King shit.
This king shit. Greg was on his king shit this week. These 2 weeks, these past 2 episodes. He really got it, and he's doing the healthy thing, and he's leaving. And for any of you who are watching the show for the first time, that's a wrap on Santino Fontana. Santino Fontana does not return. We can no longer ask guests if they think Greg is hot. I guess we can, but he's gone.
Does he ever cameo again?
No, Santino Fontana never returns.
Wow.
Allegedly, you know, we've never gotten the full scoop on what exactly happened here with Greg and him leaving the show, like, early into season 2. You know what I mean? It's just, like, kind of a weird length of time to be back. He doesn't do, like, another full season. He does, like, 4 episodes at the beginning of the season. Allegedly, it was, you know, like, an amicable split. Santino said, he's like, I just want to pursue other opportunities. I want to go do Tootsie on Broadway or whatever. And the writers, they found a way to make it work. And we try to remain spoiler free on this podcast, so I don't know how much I want to say, but I will say that perhaps this is not the last we've seen of Greg, but it is the last we've seen of Santino Fontana, and allegedly that was also an amicable decision. That is what everyone has said, at least in the press, as much as I've been able to find.
They have another Greg?
You don't remember?
No.
Okay, well, stay tuned for season 4 of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Weird.
It's weird.
That sounds really weird.
It's weird. And it is Skylar Astin, who I...
From Spring Awakening and Pitch Perfect.
That's right. Who I like. Who's a good actor. It never works as Greg for me.
Yeah, probably not.
Because they bring him back as like, oh, Greg has changed. He's grown up. He stayed sober. He's become a different person. Is like the framing of it when Greg returns.
Weird.
And it is Skylar Astin, who is, again, a good actor, a very talented singer. It never works.
No.
In my opinion.
No. I can't see that working.
It doesn't. And you have that to look forward to.
Okay.
Yeah. So stay tuned for several seasons from now of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which we'll cover in, 2025.
With our kids.
With our 2 kids.
Oh, 2025 isn't 2 years.
No.
I was like, yeah, 10 years from now.
We both had families. And, yeah, no, it's a couple years away. That's very funny.
That's icky.
Yeah. 2025 being so close. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be my year.
Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
I love that you're like...
Planting that flag. This is not my year. 2025.
And I feel like that's healthier.
I think so, too.
Putting so much pressure on this year.
And I can
like
put
3 years
infrastructure in place
yes.
to make 2025
yes.
a year.
And then you're less
The
disappointed.
universe cannot deliver a good year to you. You do have to kind of line it up for yourself, and that takes time.
You have to take actions. There aren't just signs.
You have to make, as Greg says in this episode, life is a series of decisions that you make, not the universe putting things at your feet. Wise man, Greg Serrano.
That is the funny part for me, is I feel like there's sort of this, like, holier than thou when someone gets sober in shows where it's like, I'm better. Oh, I can't because I'm better. Ah ha ha. Like, kind of like a, I remember what it was like. And I really hope that is not how I come across. And I wish there was, like, some way to make addicts more dimensional and full of conflict and mistakes and stuff without it constantly being about their sobriety being in jeopardy. I think they were close, like, falling back. I mean, they made that comparison of, like, being with Rekka would be like picking up the bottle again, which also
That's what his dad does. Yeah,
his dad. Great episode for his dad. I mean, they really just
true strong king shit of like, I sold the apartment so you could go, or I sold the house so you could go to college.
Yeah.
Also, don't get back with that girl. It's bad for you. You'll fall off the wagon again.
And just comedic. Like, he really played it.
Yeah.
Oh, episode 2 I love, and then I love the Heathers.
Yes, the Heather. Right. Okay. So Greg dies and goes to heaven. He goes up the escalator into a big blinding light.
Very beauty school dropout.
Very beauty school dropout. I gotta go. Is that how it ends? Is that what he says at the end?
Probably.
Okay. It's been a while. Greg goes to heaven. Rebecca's very sad about it. She then hallucinates Greg and Josh in her apartment, where they sing a tap number called "We Tap That Ass All Over This House." It's very fun, and it's a great little dance number.
Oh, so they do. Yeah, this episode, even though Greg has gone, they keep him on as a ghost.
But we are now done with Ghost Greg as well, as of the resolution of this episode.
Great.
That's a wrap on Santino Fontana. Thank you. So she decides to burn this. Burning a bunch of shit in your kitchen, actually not a great idea. I know that there's fire in there already, but it's a controlled burn on a gas flame. She lights a bunch of shit on fire with alcohol in her kitchen sink. Because of this, she has to take refuge at Heather's house. Remember Heather, who I feel like we hadn't seen in quite some time before this. She was on reserve, but we're about to start seeing Heather in I think literally every episode of the show until the end.
Good.
She is now like main cast, especially because she and Rebecca are moving in together. So she crashes on Heather's couch, where she meets Heather's parents, the Heathers, and who are delightful, who I love. They make me laugh a lot. I think they're cute, and I want them to be my friends. Maybe my parents, but definitely my friends.
I would take them as parents.
I would too, I guess. I mean, over the alternative. Yes, so they're nice. Rebecca is slouching down. She decides to get a makeover, a makey makeover, a makey bakey fakey wakey breaky fakeover, where she starts to look like a hot Instagram girl. At the same time, White Feather and Associates is fielding a contract with Miss Douche, a douche company, which is coincidentally holding a beauty pageant competition for the new spokesperson for Miss Douche. Rebecca decides to compete in this competition and ultimately decides that, you know, this is not good for her. This is fake. This is not who Rebecca really is. But Heather ends up winning. Heather, who's never done anything in her whole life. Heather ends up winning. Also, at the B plot in both of these episodes, Paula is pregnant and gets an abortion.
Hell yeah, which I was asking for the whole
You were
episode.
begging for an abobo the whole time.
Bobo. I'm pro Abobo. Pro-choice, pro-Abobo.
Pro-Bobo.
Abobo rights, Abobo legislation.
100%. Protect Abobo rights everywhere. And we love and respect it. I had forgotten that she actually does it. I thought she had the baby in my memory. But no, she gets an abortion.
Thank
Mom
God.
will get the door because you had an abortion.
Thank God. And she's like slaying it as a lawyer, and she's not comfortable talking to Rebecca about anything in her life yet.
Which is, I mean, listen, the Rebecca Paula friendship is in a weird place right now.
It is. Also, just because, like, if you set boundaries like Paula set, and Rebecca's just going to keep spiraling like this, then, like, what is there to talk about?
What is there to talk about? It's actually, like, very tough to be the best friend in a romantic comedy because it's never about you.
That's where I'm living.
It's never
right
about
now.
your story. It's never about your journey.
Yeah, that's where I'm living right now, and I'm still cool with it.
You're still chilling. You're still the Judy Greer in
luckily,
this situation.
I have like a, what's the therapist's name in this show?
Dr. Okopian.
Yeah, I have my own, but mine also serves as my romantic comedy best friend.
Your romantic comedy best friend is your therapist?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
No. I don't. That's actually really hard for me to think about.
I just, like, I get to tell all of my A plot, B plot stuff to her.
But the therapist doesn't bring any A plot, B plot.
Correct.
Okay, I see what you're getting at.
And then is a little more and has better boundaries than a romantic comedy best friend might have. And then I can figure out how I can show up for myself in between scenes. So,
she's your Natasha Lyonne, your Jason Mantzoukas, your
in what?
In the movie Sleeping with Other People.
Okay.
Where they are the respective
in
best
Russian
friend
Doll,
characters.
in Orange is the New Black.
Yes, no, Natasha Lyonne's best friend in a romantic comedy era. Yes, I was thinking of the movie Sleeping with Other People specifically, although Jason Mantzoukas is also the best friend character in They Came Together. Great movie. I haven't shown you that, right?
No, but you've brought it up recently.
I bring it up constantly. It's one of the funniest movies in the world to me. You saw Walk Hard with me last year, which is another important staple in my...
I walked that journey with you.
Walked hard.
It was really good.
It was really funny.
Elvis was like a really interesting Walk Hard too.
100%. Elvis is worse, but
nominated for many awards.
For all the awards that Walk Hard should have gotten, although I also really enjoyed watching Elvis. I had a great time at the theater.
Yeah, you can enjoy a worse product of something that's 100%. Great.
Yeah. I'm like, this reminds me of something that I like. And I had a good time at the theater, and the stranger next to me, she also had a great time. We became friends watching this movie.
Congrats.
But then, the option was presented to me. I'm like, should I offer to become friends with this person after this, or should I, and this is the option I did take, Just allow this to be like one beautiful
Moment
New
in New
York
York,
moment.
yeah.
I was just like, person next to me and I at Elvis had a great time. We had some laughs, and I cannot ruin that relationship. I will never see this person ever again. But now that I've said it on this podcast, if you're Elvis friend, balls in your court. If you want
Missing
to be friends, misconnections
on Lex.
You girl sitting next to me at Elvis.
I put out a misconnection recently on Lex, which is something that you can do.
Wow, coming back.
It's pretty fun.
Old internet returns.
Yeah, though the AX UX isn't as
Culture is cyclical. Everything right is wrong again.
Well, another thought, as my romantic character, as my supporting character, I've decided for me, I'm going to try this season. We'll see what happens.
Of course.
But my intention is at least to stick around for your rom-com to, play out here before
Sure.
I move. But who knows?
I think you should stick around. You never know when you're going to be needed again.
That's true. But I also know that I'm prone to be conjured when I'm most needed by my other friends. I just appear in the cities that they need me in when they need me.
Okay, fair enough.
But not even always it's not always a direct, not that I show up without asking, but just the timing is always very strange.
You're sort of a vagabond. You're like Natasha Lyonne on the show Poker Face, where everywhere you go, you are needed.
I'm like Natasha Lyonne, period.
Period, I think is what we're discovering. I actually love that for you.
She's sober.
Yep.
She's
sober, but world weary. She's been around.
She's kind of...
She's lived a whole life.
She's fruity, but she doesn't identify as gay, which is confusing.
Confusing.
I am scared about her past relationship with Fred Armisen.
And current relationship with Fred Armisen.
I think
is it not?
they
Are
split
they divorced?
up. They split up during the pandemic because
Really?
she wanted a pool. Is what she said.
I wanted the pool.
That's literally-
Come on, Fred. Let me have a pool.
She said it. That's what it came down to. But then
That's
other
so
people in my life
funny.
recently have been like, he is a bad
He's bad.
man.
Allegedly. Yes.
Yeah.
He's allegedly a very bad, at least partner. Because he has been divorced previously. And the person talked about how miserable it was.
Elizabeth Moss.
I don't remember.
Oh. Because she was...
Lizzie Moss?
Yeah.
Mad Men?
Yeah.
Scientology's Lizzie Moss?
Yeah.
Wow. That... I would never... Oh my god. If I got invited to a dinner party at Fred and Lizzie's...
I'd be scared.
I am busy that night.
I would be scared.
Now, if I got invited to a dinner party at Natasha Lyonne's house...
I'm there.
I'm moving heaven and earth, moving all my plans.
I'm absolutely there.
You will not catch me dead at Fred and Lizzie's.
No.
No.
Fred and Natasha, I'd be there. I wouldn't commit for the whole night.
Fred and
I would have an hour.
Natasha... If Fred and Natasha invited me to an evening, I'm there, but I'm slowly incepting hints into Natasha. I'm like, are you sure you want to be in this relation? You're happy? You're happy?
I don't think
You don't ask it quite like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think anyone can tell her what to do. I'm sure she...
No, certainly not. That's why I'm talking about
information she
incepting
needed.
it. I would never tell her what to do, but I am introducing the seed into her mind that will make her think about it for herself.
She had to have thought about it all the time.
I don't know.
You know?
I get you. I completely do.
This is all just...
This is all about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. But yeah, you're Natasha Lyonne. Congratulations. But you're a cheerleader.
Thank you. I was a cheerleader.
Exactly. It all actually makes... I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I have kind of a huskier voice as time goes on.
Mm-hmm. Check it out.
Yeah. I love her. I do need to see her new show.
Poker Face.
Have you
I'm
seen
really
it?
enjoying it. I've seen every episode.
And you like it?
I do. I
Did
really
you see
do.
the second season of Russian Doll too?
I did.
Did you like it?
I did.
I still haven't finished
I
it.
felt like I was the only person that did watch it, but I found it was interesting. I didn't like it quite as much as the first season, because the first season is just kind of a really good self-contained idea. The second season I found confusing but enjoyable.
Yeah, I guess I'm a bad fan. I haven't kept up recently.
Yeah, you're not in the Leon hive. I mean, because I was watching Orange is the New Black like everybody else, and then there was the beginning of season 3 that she's not in for several consecutive episodes, and I stopped watching the show.
Yeah.
I understand that she came back, but she apparently was the show for me, which I did not realize until she was gone.
I felt that way too for a while. I was very start and stop with Orange is the New Black, and then Samira Wiley pulled me back in through my gay awakening.
Yeah.
It was like being gay first me or Wiley kind of pulled me back into
That was
the show.
Passé, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. I always did enjoy, like, reading, like, academic reviews of, like, Orange is the New Black. You know what I mean? Like, I always enjoyed, like, really sifting through the text, someone who's, like, really examining it, like, as a piece of art, but having to keep referring to characters by names like Passé. Yeah, it's always, it never stopped being funny to me.
Yeah.
If we get into the internal heart of Passé.
Say Washington. Yeah. I loved her. They started, like, a little, like, non-for-profit thing in her...
That's great.
honor of the death of her character. It was cool. That show actually helped me figure out, because they had resources at the end of like the last season or something when they started going into ICE detention. And
Wow.
they had like good resources for how to get involved, and I like got involved with it's interesting that Orange is the New Black was the pipeline for so many things. I also got involved in wrongful conviction work for women because I liked that show, so I started taking those classes.
It was like a big like springboard for so many things, social causes and like careers.
And I also went to accompaniments, which are like showing up for detainment or deportation hearings, for ICE hearings, for citizens of New York that are called in, and they make it intentionally really complicated and not really for an English speaking person to understand at all. So if it's not your first language, it is impossible.
Yes.
And it's cute because it's mostly like a puddle of like retired Upper West Side oldies who just show up from, I think a lot of them, I think it was originally like a church thing and then it expanded to non-denominational, but there are like regular churchgoers or you know each other from church or from synagogue or whatever. And then there would be like young radical people who would show up and they had trainings, and basically you would just show up and you would listen to the whole thing, and if you show up as like a big body or a big community, the judge is much less likely to deport that person.
Wow.
And that is literally just the statistic that they're working from, which is pretty fucked up.
Pretty fucked up.
They're not seen as a number if like a whole community of people show up for this person. So they don't need to know that we don't know them that well.
Of course.
It's just like showing up and being like, woo, and like wearing buttons. So
fascinating.
And I took a bunch of notes, and I did that for a few months before the pandemic because I was like getting really frustrated freelancing at Condé Nast and it being so irregular that I was like, I need to do something. And it was the resources I found from Orange is the New Black that led me to that. Very cool. Also very devastating. I did see a few people get deported who did not know what were going on.
Oh my god, that is devastating.
And deported for no reason.
Of course. Reasons thing. Yeah. Do you remember on Orange is the New Black when like Lauren Lapkus was playing the nice prison guard?
Yes.
That Natasha Lyonne was always like aggressively hitting on.
Yes.
And then Natasha Lyonne was like, "Get out of here! What are you doing? Like, go get a different job somewhere else."
Yeah.
That was a great scene.
Yeah, I think about her a lot.
Lauren Lapkus?
In that role.
Yeah.
I actually think of her in that role more than I do in her comedic stuff, which is confusing because she's so good in comedic stuff.
Obviously, like, primarily a comedian, yeah, but
I think it was just interesting to see her do a role that wasn't funny.
And it was interesting. And she was good. And she was, like, really strong. And, like, I've listened to so many hours of her playing, like, the most bizarre comedic characters, like, you've ever witnessed in your entire life. But
yeah.
She also... A lot of good comedians are just straight up good actors.
That's true.
Especially if you're, like, a character comedian, you have to, like, find, like, the weird truth of this character. Like, you're playing a completely insane person who owns a shop called, like, Carpets and Rugs down there, you know, like, and is, like, trying to sell that, or you play, like, Pamela from Big Bear or whatever. Like, you're playing all these bizarre... Ho-Ho the Naughty Elf, but you have to find, like, the truth at the core of Ho-Ho the Naughty Elf. And anyway, a lot of comedians... I mean, as we discovered with people like Mark Maron... You know what I mean? Who has become, like, one of our greatest contemporary character actors in the last, like, 10 or so years? Since WTF.
Who's this person?
He played Sam on Glow.
Yes.
But also, you know, he does all kinds of stuff. He was in, like, the Aretha Franklin biopic recently. Like, he's just become this guy that you can just call. He was on a great episode of Reservation Dogs this most recent season.
The man that was behind us in the famous
behind us at
Yes.
Kate. Yes.
Glowman. Yes.
Yes, Glowman has just become a really great, like, kind of dramatic character actor.
Yeah.
They have it in them. They have a lot of pain in them.
Yeah, here's my friend doing an audition take. It's supposed to be kind of like earnest, but it's a joke, but it was just interesting because she had to take a lot of takes of it. It's intrusive, and
Let's hear it.
Broke my brain, and I can't stop thinking about it when I see it.
I got my nose done at the Liquid Death Recycle Plastic Surgery Center. I got my nose done at the Liquid Death Recycle Plastic Surgery Center.
At the Liquid Death Recycled Plastic
I got my
Surgery
nose done at the
Center.
Liquid Death
Apparently,
Recycle
Liquid
Plastic
Death
Surgery
announced they're
Liquid
using
Death, the water company, in the crazy metal bottles,
announced that they're doing something with recycled plastic,
and
so
putting it in
so the bit
plastic surgery.
The bit is that, I guess, in this fictional whatever the fuck this is a submission for, that the plastic surgery comes from the recycled bottles.
Plastic. Okay, of Liquid Death.
Yeah.
I got my nose done at the Liquid Death Recycled Plastic Surgery Center.
The self-tapes are evil.
I agree.
Self-tape. Being an actor is so
I got my nose done
embarrassing.
at the Liquid Death Recycled Plastic Surgery Center.
And that's when
There's so many clips.
I texted, I feel like my brain is breaking.
Your friend is pretty.
And then
They should think about being an actor.
they're actually the reason Bruce Willis is retiring from acting. That's my bit. But
They gave Bruce Willis dementia.
the bit is
they kicked his frontal lobe in.
the bit is the first like feature that they booked, like successful feature that they booked that filmed last year. That was the last film that Bruce Willis, and then announced that he was thinking of retiring from acting, and then it just came out that it's actually dementia.
We knew he had something, like, I don't know, however many months ago that came out, but
Yeah,
officially it was announced.
So it was on that set, and I was like, we let you on one film, and you give Bruce Willis dementia. What the fuck?
What the fuck? Well, no, he just saw her and was like, I can't compete with this.
That's how we feel.
Blew him away.
We're like, you can't do this. You have to pick another
You're
job.
too powerful.
This is mine.
What, this little button thing? I got my nose done at the Liquid Death Recycled Plastic Surgery Center. Boop.
Were you, like, in the shower when you recorded?
Somebody was making food.
Oh, okay.
Another take.
I got my nose done at the Liquid Death Recycled Plastic Surgery Center.
I see. So this became a whole thing in, like, your universe.
Yes. I have this group chat with like secret, I guess there's both of them have had like admin reveals, but for about a year both of them were faceless meme admins and had like over 10K 15K followers.
Shit.
And so we're in this little group chat, and that's part of the thing that I'm going to tonight is part of that kind of scene of like internet-y meme admin world clout internet.
Yeah, the thing you're going to sounds dire, so Godspeed.
I think it's something that you would like pay money not to go to.
100%.
So I am curious.
I would send a proxy in my stead.
Much like this person. That was the person who showed up as their partner to their class to bring it full circle.
Wearing like a big mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to pee. Anything else to say about these Crazy Ex-Girlfriend episodes?
I think that's pretty.
I think we
full
covered
circle,
it.
yeah.
I think pretty dire schemes from Rebecca Bunch these last couple episodes. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to a healthier place for our girl. And I'm excited to see. I'm impressed by the Abobo plotline and just kind of like the matter-of-fact way that they sort of dealt with that.
I forgot that's what we're calling abortions now, Bobos. I hope that's a through line.
Yep. Yeah, I'm all for it.
Slay.
Great. This has been Crazy X Pod Friends. We'll see you in March. And, stay tuned to this feed. Eventually, we'll have another show on there. One of these days.
I am online, I think. I am Cat Scott online. You can find me there. I don't know who you are, my listener.
Do you want to plug your memes?
No.
Okay.
No. The people I was talking about is the girly demon and Manifest Destiny's Children, and you can find them. And if you find them, then you'll find me. And so I'll give you that. But I'm not going to associate my Cat Scott presence with my stupid little meme page.
Must keep the brand separate.
Mine's like under 250 followers.
Would you do a different persona where you represent the meme page?
Yeah, if you want that.
I'm just asking conceptually.
Conceptually, I would
I am friends with Cat Scott. I am not friends with meme page.
Okay. Well, yeah. I would absolutely do that.
Okay.
That would be
that's
fun.
fun. I love that experiment for you, actually.
Yeah. I'm not, I don't have any plans for it, but should it arise, yeah. We've thought about it because these two have made, like, direct references to we all kind of have, like, Nepo baby vibes associated with us, or lineages that can be traced, and 9/11 just comes up a lot in their memes.
Sure does,
I get tagged a lot in their 9/11 memes, and,
Cat Scott is in this photo.
No, not Cat Scott. The meme page. The meme page. I get tagged a lot in relation to me being a 9/11 Nepo baby. And it's cathartic. I can finally...
you can finally talk about it.
Finally make 9/11 jokes.
100%. It's been long enough.
I have a safe space for it.
And I think that's beautiful. TV's Kevin Lanigan everywhere, but you already knew that. And stay on the wagon, friends. And
don't relapse. Yeah. One day at a time.
One day at a time.
Wow, I didn't expect.
Don't make any big decisions.
I didn't expect it coming from you. Yeah, don't make any big decisions your first year sober, but you can change your socks.
You can change your socks. Greg is being a little, ridiculous.
You can change your underwear.
100%.
You can do basic chores, but you do not have to make your bed every day. You can go to the park. You don't need to make... You also don't need to quit cigarettes. Don't.
They're fun.
Don't quit caffeine. Don't quit cigarettes. You don't need to do that yet, not in your first year. You have enough going on.
Those are chill.
Don't fuck your exes in your first year.
Just in general.
Slow down on the dating. Don't get in a U-Haul.
Yeah.
These are my tips.
As a so-called U-Haul lesbian, that's my tar.
That was a good tar.
What about Beethoven? You into him?
I like that it's transatlantic.
I feel like that's kind of what she's doing.
I feel like that
maybe I'm putting a little bit Katharine Hepburn, Cate Blanchett in there, but...
I think you're right.
I start the clock. You cannot start without me.
I think Kate's American woman does have
is a little transatlantic
because Carol is.
Because Carol is, and she won the Academy Award for playing Katharine Hepburn, who has the transatlantic accent.
Oh, what movie?
The Aviator. Martin Scorsese's The Aviator.
I didn't realize what.
Cate Blanchett won the Oscar for playing Katharine Hepburn.
She plays Katharine Hepburn?
She sure does, and boy,
I thought this was.
I gotta stop recording because the details of my sexual interest in Cate Blanchett as Katharine Hepburn is not suitable for radio.
Damn, okay. I didn't know we had censors. Bye!
Bye!
What's a girl to do when she's stuck between men? It's like she's a Barbie with two perfect Kens. But wait, it just occurred to me. Maybe I can solve this with geometry. Yes, smarts can help this situation untangle. So professors, teach me the math of love triangles. Yay, time for book facts.
A triangle is a polygon with 3 edges and 3 vertices. Take the base times the height, cut that in half to find the area of the surfaces.
I wasn't really listening, but I can see the center of the triangle is little old me. The math of love triangles isn't hard to learn.
You're not taking in what we're saying. We're a little bit concerned.
Yes, the math of love triangles is as simple as can be. Whichever Tom or Dick I might pick, the center of the triangle's little me.
Actually, a triangle has multiple centers. This triangle's scalene.
That's astute, so I need to decide which man's more acute.
Here's Pythagoras' theorem.
Will this help me choose? If not, I'll be swinging from a hypotenuse.
Let's take a look at what this line bisects.
Is that spelled B-I-S-E-X?
Those are good puns, but please pay attention.
Oh no, professors, am I facing suspension? Whee! A swing! It's literal suspension! The math of love triangles isn't hard to learn.
We're starting to suspect you don't sincerely want to know about triangles.
Yes, the math of love triangles is as simple as can be. I need to choose between men, but until then, the center of the triangle's little me. Is this a triangle?
No, that's a shoe.
Is this a triangle?
No, that's you.
So I'm a triangle?
What? No.
1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 3, go!
You don't seem to know how to count. We're sincerely worried about you.
Catch me!
You're ruining the number.
This angle's right.
Which angle's right?
No, not right, like correct.
Ooh, are you erect?
No, 90 degrees.
That's really erect. The math of love triangles is super duper fun.
We're tired of all your tangents. That's also a triangle pun.
Oh, thanks for teaching me man math. You all deserve a kiss.
Lady, we're all gay. We get nothing out of this.
Neither man will notice my learning disability. 'Cause the center of the triangle